Welcome to Sunday service, everyone. Thank you for coming on this beautiful day. For those who don't know us, my name is Anandi. This is my husband, Bharat. We especially want to welcome any guests and visitors to the community. I'll begin with a reading from Rays of the One Light. These are weekly commentaries on the Bible and the Bhagavad Gita written by Swami Kriyananda. This week's reading is called The Infinite Christ. Is this mic too loud or something? It's reverberating in my ear. Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. The Gospel of St. John contains some of the most profound spiritual teachings in the Bible. In the first chapter, many subtle truths are suggested concerning higher states of self-realization. Here, John the Baptist is described as one reaching up toward that high state. Quote, "He was not that light," the Gospel tells us, "but was sent to bear witness of that light." Jesus Christ, by contrast, is described as the light itself. Quote, "That was the true light, which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not." One essential truth stands out in this teaching, that Jesus came not to dogmatize people with a new teaching, but to bring them timeless, universal truths. Disciples saw the Master clothed in human form, and therefore judged him in terms of his greatness relative to the greatness of other teachers. Wisdom, however, sees the Master's very greatness in terms of a cosmic unity. There is a passage in The Path by Swami Kriyananda in which this point is emphasized. The Master, Paramahansa Yogananda, explained, "The saint who attains that exalted consciousness never says, 'I am God,' for he sees that it was the vast ocean that became his little wave of ego. The wave, in other words, would not claim, when referring to the little self, to be the ocean." At this juncture, Devi, who was present, cried excitedly, "But sir, if you are one with that ocean, that means you are God." "Why I?" the Master asked. "Say he. He is God." "But still, sir, you are one with him, and he is the only reality. That means you too are God." "But this body isn't God." "You aren't identified with your body, sir, so one may still say that you are God." "Well, in that case, why do you say you? You too are that. In discussion of this sort, it is less confusing if we say he." "But what's the difference?" "The scriptures say," Master began. "It's only your humility, sir," Devi broke in, "that makes you distinguish between yourself and him." "How can there be humility when there is no consciousness of ego?" Triumphantly, Devi cried, "But if you have no ego left, that means you are God." Master laughingly continued the earlier statement, which Devi had interrupted. "The scriptures say, 'He who knows Brahma becomes Brahma.'" "There," Devi cried, "you said it yourself." Master rejoined, still laughingly, "I didn't say it. It's the scriptures that say so." Master, in other words, would not identify those words with the human body speaking them. It was in his overarching spirit that he saw himself one with the infinite. But Devi was unable to make this mental leap from a pure expression of infinity to infinity itself. "You quoted those scriptures, sir," he reminded Master relentlessly. "That means you agree with them." Recognizing that the distinction was, perhaps, too subtle for many to grasp, Master concluded, "Well, He who says he is God isn't God. And, he added with a smile, he who says he isn't. And there the subject rested, amid general laughter. The greater a spiritual teaching, the more greatly we betray it by particularizing it with dogma. Truth itself, not the Christian truth or the Hindu truth, incarnates on earth with the birth of a fully liberated master. As the Bhagavad Gita teaches in the 4th chapter, unborn, changeless, Lord of creation, and controller of my cosmic nature, though I am, yet entering nature, I am dressed in the cosmic garment of my own Maya, delusion. O Bharata, whenever virtue declines and vice predominates, I incarnate on earth. Taking visible form, I come to destroy evil and reestablish virtue. Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind. Om. Om. Om.
Well, Anandi read that so beautifully. I hope that you all understand the passage, like Master was talking about the difference. I would like to begin my talk with a reading from Whispers from Eternity, the new edition, Swami Kriyananda edited, of Yogananda's poems, mystical poems. Every sound that I make, let it have the vibration of thy voice. Every thought that I think, let it be saturated with the consciousness of thy presence. Let every feeling that I have glow with thy love. Let every act of my will be impregnated with thy divine vitality. Let every thought, every expression, every ambition be ornamented by thee. O divine sculptor, chisel thou my life according to thy design. In our reading today, it talks about Jesus, the infinite Christ, the light that lighteth every man, but the world knew him not. And sometimes we forget about what the great masters have to offer us. There was a story of two devotees after receiving Kriya initiation with Master and the serving of the prasad, the food that was blessed. Yogananda said to make a wish and it will become true. Well, one young man was walking out and said to the other one, well, what did you wish for? And the man said, well, I wished for a rug. And the other one said, you wished for a rug? Well, what did you wish for? Well, I wished for something expensive, a car. And you contrast with a beautiful story of Swami Chidananda. He served his guru, Shivananda, very devotedly for many years. And after decades of service, Shivananda said to him, I will give you anything. What would you like? And Chidananda said, no, nothing. No, I want to give you something. What would you like? No, I need nothing. And okay, how about a cup of tea? And so he gave him a cup of tea. And do you know that when Master was in Samadhi, Divine Mother spoke through Master. And Divine Mother said, to those who I give too much, I don't give myself. And so in this world, we have a choice of do we want to acquire, want to grab as much as we can, or do we just want God alone? And, it's that we have to learn that going outside of ourselves, we leave Divine Mother behind. And more and more to just seek just her love, only her presence. But how do you switch that momentum? Swami was talking about how we shouldn't say we live at Ananda, that we give at Ananda. A master's energy is focused at the spiritual eye, and energy is just centered there. We're learning about that as yogis, but the definition of yoga is getting rid of likes and dislikes. When the energy comes into the spine, and then we're drawn out in acquisition or maybe avoidance of things, and the energy is flowing through the chakras. Master said it's a little bit like two pampered rich ladies who are trying to sit just perfectly on a couch and get everything right in life. And we just go through life all that way of just wanting things to be perfect. But the only way where we can find that perfection is beyond the material world, in the inner world of spirit. I have a friend, some of you know this story, but because she told it to me, it's especially powerful. But she came here for a week's retreat, and in her tent, Master appeared to her. And he said just one word to her. And she didn't tell me about this experience, but a year later, I was visiting her college where she was a grad student, and her name was Roberta, and she was in such a beautiful place, just so much love. And the professors commented to me, because I was giving a program there, how much she had transformed her department, and all the other grad students and students, they just revered her. And as we were driving after a program, Roberta, she said, something very special happened to me when I was at Ananda. And then she told me about the visitation of Master. And she said he only said one word, and that word was give. And this whole year since then, I've been trying to live my life that way. And it's really transformed my life. And I haven't been thinking about myself all this year, but only what I can give to others. And when you think of when we're trying to get for ourselves, energy's flowing out away from our spine, our source of life. But when we're giving and it's a pure service, that energy is uplifted. And it's so important, isn't it, to have that quality, because then we get on the wavelength of the great masters, of the great ones. And then we can tune into their consciousness and receive their consciousness in that spirit. How can we give in meditation? Well, it's our attention, really, that is a good gauge of our sincerity in meditation. How present are we? If you happen to do Kriya Yoga, I think everyone here, even if you don't do Kriya, know that it's done in the spine, but are you doing Kriya in the spine, or are you somewhere else out of the spine? Or are you totally present in your meditation practice as much as possible? If you find that you aren't, then pray to Divine Mother, help me be more attentive to you. And just keep putting your mind back, putting your mind back. And then also how we can give in our meditation is be mindful in everything that we do. When we're doing Hong Sa, we're offering up our small breath into the universal breath. Every time that we stay with our mantra, and every time that we observe our breath, we're saying two things. One is that I'm not my body. If we're just allowing the breath to flow freely through us, it's the universal breath. If we bring our mind back to what we're doing, we're saying, I'm not my personality. And if we just stay with it, that will lead us into breathlessness, and we'll know that only God exists in that state. But we'll have a growing sense of that the deeper and deeper we go. If we chant Om, Master said that when we chant Om, it not only goes around the earth, but it goes throughout all the stars and eternity. And when we offer a prayer, why do we say Om? Why do we? Well, we say that we hope our prayer will be received in the consciousness of Om, in the universal consciousness, and resonate there, because we want our prayers to be heard, don't we? And so when we chant Om, if we are listening to the inner sounds and we chant Om, we're be cognizant of what we're really doing, of what is the potential here, and to be able to really receive the most. The more attentive we are, the more we'll get out of it. One lady said to Master, when Om came, all my troubles vanished. And when I was at the university where Roberta had told me her story of her visitation from Master, my host told me a story. It was quite an eventful trip. But he said, you know, as you, I think I know, I was going through a divorce, and we were still in the house with my present spouse then, and it was very inharmonious. And it was my decision to leave, but I wanted it to go well, but it was just very, very difficult. And I didn't know how I was going to be able to cope. And one night I went into my bedroom and I sat on my bed and I prayed very deeply to God, you know, help me, help, bless this situation. And then he heard the sound of many waters just roaring in his room. And he wasn't a yogi, he was a Unitarian minister. But he said, you know, I felt so comforted. And from that moment, everything was fine between my spouse and I. And we just parted very good and dear friends. And he said, what was that experience? What was it? And I said, you heard the Holy Ghost, the Comforter, the sound of Om. And as the woman said, that when Om came, all my problems vanished. And so when we meditate, just, you know, to really remember, what we're doing and what is the potential. You know, if we're going to go as a tourist somewhere and we look at a brochure, they always put a really magnetic picture on the tour guide. You know, this is a beautiful place. And what is the reaction when you see the brochure? What do you think of? You go, I want to go there because it's so magnetic. Well, make that, through remembrance, make that so magnetic, the idea of communion with the realities, universal realities of God, whether it's through Om, through stillness, through love, through your chanting. The more and more that that's real to us, the more and more it'll be approachable, and more we'll find our mind held in those realities. And as we become more interiorized, we'll have a growing experience of that truth. Jyotish once was giving a class on how to be a channel in Palo Alto, and this is particularly during the time when everybody was trying to be a channel. And, and during the class at East West Bookstore, somebody asked Jyotish, well, do you channel? And Davey was sort of curious on how Jyotish would answer this because, you know, Jyotish is from Minnesota. And when people from Minnesota, they wave at each other, they kind of go, they have their hand on the steering wheel and they go like this. So it's very, very understated. And you know what Jyotish said is that when I do, I feel a deep sense of gratitude. Because when we feel the presence of the divine, the energy feels so right and so clear. And so poignant and just perfect that we're humbled by that, and we just want to be a part of that energy. And we know that, you know, everything that energy touches is blessed. And don't we all want to be a part of the winning team? And you know, we could just do things from our own little mind and sort of rearrange things, or we could invite the power of God into the situation. And I know that we do that all the time, and that's an affirmation and a truth that we all want to live by. Swami is more and more is saying that you'll be able to, when you really allow God to be the doer, then you will see your ability to bring power and to create and manifest in your life so much more. And you just see how much Swami accomplishes and everything he does. And it's because he said, I'm not doing it. And you really know and feel that God is doing it. And so whenever you have that experience of God moving in your life and very dynamic in your life, hold on to that experience. And then remember that, and then try to retain that feeling in everything that you do. Try to harmonize with that experience and bring to that experience your little efforts, and try to invite that experience into the situation. We of course first have to give before we receive, because giving puts us up on the wavelength. But we have to remember that we're receiving too. There's a beautiful story of one of the Ananda ministers who serves overseas, and she had an operation. And it was a big operation, and she was only awake for about an hour and a half out of the day, the next several days. And one day she couldn't even lift her head off the pillow. And she was telling me of her experience, and she said, I've always been a person that is always trying to do things for God. I think that by doing lots of things, accomplishing things, that I'll win God's love. But when I was lying on the bed, not even able to move my head, and couldn't do anything from God, I found that God came to me. And the only thing that we need is to receive His love. And so during the festival, what do we do when we have the festival? Those that have never done it before will be doing it shortly after the talk. But we sing to God, we pray to God, and through the arti, the blessings of the light, we offer that light to God. We offer the little light that is within us in order to receive the infinite light of God. And as we do the arti, not only feel that you're offering that light to God, but draw the magnetism, draw the consciousness of the masters into you. The true disciple is the one that reflects and expresses the divine light, the joy and love of the great ones. It's just all of Krishna's soldiers were like Krishna. And so as we do the festival, again, be mindful of what we're doing. We're trying to offer everything that we are into the consciousness of the great ones, and then to be transformed by that consciousness. Swami has talked so much about the importance of always being conscious and expansive. He says as you walk, try to gaze at the distances in your environment and try to feel your aura reaching out throughout everything that you see. And he said to affirm that you're infinite, that you're everywhere, you're in all atoms, and that the breath, or that the breeze is your breath, and the sun is your muscles, and the moon is your love. And just have an expanded sense of who you are. When I was in Ireland at Wicklow National Park, after a program, there was a Celtic nun who took me on a walk. She was a park ranger at that park up through into the mountains. And the Celtic Christianity is a lot different expression than the Roman Christianity, the kind that we're more familiar with, where the Roman was more rational. But the Celtic was very much influenced by the Druids. And they had this thought that as you walk, feel that Christ is moving through you and through the clouds and in the mountains. And it was just a very, practice that they always lived by. It was very inspiring to walk up into the mountains with that woman that had devoted her whole life trying to be in that consciousness. Swami has given us a lot of meditations to try to get us into this experience. Before I introduce this meditation that he's given us, I want to first say that it has to do with the choir, and as you know, not everyone can be in the choir. I know when I was in third grade, I was sent by the singing teacher into the corner, and I had to sit in the corner while everybody sang. And so not everyone can be in a worldly choir, but everybody can be in a heavenly choir. And this is just a beautiful meditation on Swami. And since I haven't been in too many worldly choirs, I've tried to join this heavenly choir. And this is a meditation to unite with the source of all creation, with Om. See, I'm going to read it from Swami's book, Awaken to Superconsciousness. And Swami has written so many books that we forget about what's been given to us in all these books. And in this particular book, Awaken to Superconsciousness, Swami has given so many meditations on how to really take and go into a subtle inner reality and using your will and create a momentum day after day so that you can go into the experience. And so I highly recommend revisiting this book if you've already read it, or reading it for the first time, because Swami is familiar with these states of consciousness, and he writes these visualizations. You could go and read the chapter and then read the meditation and really sort of forget about what is really there. And in these meditations, he takes us into these subtle realities. So here's his the meditation. You can close your eyes to help visualize it if you'd like. Imagine a choir composed of every atom in the universe, each one an individual, but all of them singing together in blissful harmony. In your own mind, join that mighty choir composed of all life, determined from today on to sing in harmony with the universe. Don't impose on the great anthem of life your little wishes on how you want the music to sound. Unite your notes to that infinite sound. The more you do so, the more deeply you will know yourself to be an expression of the soaring anthem of infinity. The last couple weeks I've been practicing this meditation, and as I was walking away from the house over to the expanding light, I started thinking about something that was sort of beyond my control, and it was going to get in the way of several projects that I was doing for Ananda that were really important and had deadlines, and I could sort of feel myself going through a conversation, what I was going to need to do to not be involved in this situation, and I could just sort of feel my mind kind of getting out of the inspiration of what I was feeling. And I'd already given the situation to Divine Mother at the end of meditation. So I thought, well, let me get into the stream, the flow of this meditation again. And I just set it aside, and I just started feeling that everything around me was singing in this great universal choir, and just seeing that the tree was singing the sound of Om. And as I was walking and stepping on the leaves, I could feel that they're singing Om too. And then it really was very poignant between the thing of like, is life fighting against you, or are you a part of all life that's harmonious and filled with love? And that's our choice every day, is to think, are we something that, like John Muir said, that we're separate, people are like marbles, hard and separate and barely touching each other, or are we united with life? Do we see and feel the goodness that everything has? And more as we live in this expanded state of consciousness, it will lead us to the infinite Christ and the Christ consciousness and then beyond. And the way to start that journey is more and more to just expand beyond the little self, and more you'll join into the great self. God bless you all.